box usually pops up on the screen. You have to click the word "Got it." That you know that I'm recording our session, and that's what makes these videos available later on. And the setup here, as you can see, is 2 chairs. The backs of the chairs facing in, a decent amount of space from left to right, and then a third seat of some sort here for you to sit in. And we shall get going. I'm going to mute everyone. So the foundational practice for really everything, it's a universal idea, whether it be Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, any basic understanding, is just sitting practice. Sitting practice. It's in all the different cultures, from the Japanese to the Chinese to the Indian to, I'm sure, other cultures with these practices that I that I have not steeped myself in, but the basic idea is we'll scoot forward on the chair. This could be done sitting cross-legged on the ground. Usually you would put a cushion underneath, so that what's really important is that we're not slouching, tilting with our knees higher up. We don't want the chair too low. We also don't want to be sitting back against the chair, losing this central pillar. That's why this scooting forward and being at the front edge, so that the only thing really contacting your chair is those 2 buttock bones, known as the sits bones, the ishiotuberosities. And the other piece that we want to look at is the head and neck. Often because of tightness in shoulders, postural issues, whatever it may be, we get this slouch, and then the chin is usually up to try to keep our eyes level with the horizon. So we have this little, I'm exaggerating it for effect, but this eventually pinches off the nerve flow to the face, the eyes, and into the chest, arms. So this can be detrimental for many reasons. So we again scoot forward and then bring your chin down. Again, notice I'm not taking my head down, but the chin. So the skull, where the skull sits atop the spine, this little tilt down so that it'll lengthen the base of the back of the neck and open the base of the skull. And this is what is meant when they say lengthen the crown up, right? You'll often hear that crown of the head lengthening up. The technique for that is somewhat counterintuitive. It's this slight tilt of the skull. And so as you're sitting at the front edge, chin slightly down, crown up, arms, hands resting on the thighs, we achieve this zhong zheng, or central pillar. Central pillar. And what is somewhat uniquely Taoist, but it's also found in the other approaches, but Taoist being ancient Chinese, the philosophy that birthed Chinese medicine, Feng Shui, Tai Chi, Qigong, and other arts. What is uniquely Taoist is this emphasis on soft and supple, soft, relaxed, loose, easy. Like there's this huge emphasis on you got to just release these many layers of grabbing, holding tension. There's layers of that. First layer is conscious. First layer is something under our conscious control that just by sitting here, we can, decide to relax, decide to let go of somewhere. And usually there's some usual suspects: jaw, neck, chest area, stomach, right? These areas that we just tend to be sort of defensive. And I think with Parkinson's, you could probably attest to it better than I, of course, that there's some layers of that are just happening and they're not really as easy to let go of. But we can still work in that direction of releasing and letting go. So this is where the breathing becomes valuable. So maybe with the mind, we can't quite get the nervous system to chill out and relax, but by deciding with the mind to take your next inhale in through the nose, long and smooth, and then out the mouth, long and smooth. So do that now with me. So we've achieved our physical position. We've understood the idea. Okay, I'm trying to soften and relax. Then we're now using a technique, the breath, and saying, okay, longer, smoother inhale through the nostrils, out the mouth, in the nose, and out the mouth. We'll just do this for another, let's say, 12 to 15 breath cycles. Each breath, see if you can get that inhale to last a little longer. If it was 3 seconds, have your next one be 3.5 or 4 seconds. So as you improve as a breather, you will take fewer number of breaths per minute because each breath will be a longer, more luxurious, expanded experience. And so by attending to that, by focusing your attention on that practice, the result of that is the nervous system goes, oh, okay, we're in a rest period. We're in a relaxation period, a parasympathetic calm period. And so then there's this cascade of effects through the body by breath 6, breath 7, breath 10, and so on down the line, where then you create this effect of softening, releasing. And what's really important is that we initially created this pillar of support. So if I'm trying to relax and my posture is not good, then I'm relaxing into a not so great position. I'm crumpling. Then my body is fighting to try to keep me up. But if I can achieve this crown down through the perineum, central pillar, and then around that, inhale, expand, exhale, soften, breath by breath, there's this sloughing off, this releasing. So that's this second idea called Chun-One, which means relaxing, softening into stability, just like, and I've used this example before, these, you probably have one in your childhood memory, these blow-up dolls. I think they were usually clowns or something, but they were filled with air, except at the bottom was this amount of sand or some sort of sediment that grounded that. So you could smack that thing over and then it would right itself because of the weight being down here, not because of some tension in the balloon. So as we breathe in, breathe out, we're allowing our sediment, our tension, our body weight to settle down, down, down. And the idea in Tai Chi is that it ends up going out of the body entirely and underneath us, a sort of magnetic, you could say, grounding, or like plugging into the earth. So rather than us being this stiff body walking around on the top of the earth, we release that and we find this plug, this ground, groundedness, right? So Zhong, central upright. Chun-One, soften and relax, breath by breath, releasing the tension, the places that we're holding. And the third result of that is the Qing-Ling, which means light, nimble, agile, movable, all of those types of ideas. So what's left is this body that actually can move with ease rather than tight, and then we're trying to move this clumsy quality. So continue your breathing. So hopefully you've gotten some layer of this tension. And the idea would be you practice this 2-3 times a day, where you just pause for a moment, sit, take some breaths, empty out wherever you're holding, and then go about your day. right? So this in and of itself could be your whole practice that you just insert into your day at various points before sleep, before you get, or as you get up, you know, with your cup of tea in the morning or whatever. So now let's add the movement. So I'll turn sideways so you can see some of the body relationships. Slide the hands back, elbows back, and shoulder blades back, chest up, chin up. So now we're gently arching all the vertebrae of the spine. We're creating a flex or extension of the body. And then slide your hands forward past the knees, hollow your chest back, drop the head, and softly round the back. And again, slide hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, chest up, chin up, look up, soft arch. And then slide hands forward, hollow chest, drop head, round. And again, sliding back, inhaling now as you go to this extension, full breath in. And exhaling. 2 more. The challenge here being, can you use only that Qingling quality, that soft body? So you're easing your way through the movement. You dropped out that tension and you're gliding, sliding, rather than tense and forcing the body, which is what we're normally doing. And again, with Parkinson's, you just can't get away with that type of movement. And I've seen it with a lot of people that I've worked with, is that if you learn this movement quality, you can achieve quite a bit because you're not fighting yourself with muscle tension and nervous system arousal. You're finding this easy sliding, gliding. Now settle to the middle. Let's do our rotations. Left hand forward past the knee, right hand slide back, elbow back, turn to the right. Turn your head gently to the right. And then switch. So soft and loose and relaxed. Just rotate and turn. So in your mind, really emphasize, go ahead, switch again, that how far you turn is not nearly as important as this quality of supple, soft, relaxed, gliding, sliding. So that's why when you see, especially the Qigong Tai Chi I'm studying now, which I've studied now for maybe 5-6 years, that's just mind-boggling. One of my comments was, it looks lazy. It looks lazy. It looks really comfortable, but it looks like we're just kind of relaxing. And that's, again, a very important point to the Taoist mindset, is that you have to find this soft, lazy, relaxed state to get this supple movement. And then you train this supple movement and you can do more and more and more with it. Quite athletic movements, swift movements, and yet the whole body and nervous system are at ease, right? Now, hang your arms to the side and just loose. Softly lean sideways, float your left wrist up, maybe even let this foot be empty and float, and then just soft. Other side, lean. So our middle pivot, this one I really highlight that because it's a great place to feel. We got kind of 2 sides of our body, but they're organized around a middle. And so even though you're here, you don't fall out of your chair because your middle pivot is still remaining organized, right? Soft and loose. So we go right to this edge where we're almost falling, but we don't, and we can relax and be soft. So we're creating an adaptable, agile body that doesn't panic at our edges, right? A lot of times falling happens because we're stiff, because we're not allowing this adjusting to the changing, right? The idea that balance isn't a state of holding, but rather the opposite, a state of adjustable, adaptable. Back to middle. Now, usual suspect, chest, shoulder, upper back, neck. This whole area tends to get very stiff. So these next movements help unpack that. Shoulders, shrug them way up to your ears, kind of like a sponge getting squished. all those upper back and shoulder muscles, and then relax and release down. Goal being loose, empty, relaxed. Again, shrug and melt. Shrug up and melt. Now, I'll come a little closer so you guys can see the subtleties of this. The shoulder blades going up and down, right, on our back. They can also go back like you're cracking a walnut and apart from each other. That's called protraction and retraction. This is protraction. So now protract, then lift, shoulders up, then shoulders go over the top and back. So you're squishing that space in the upper back. And then very importantly, melt down, under, and relax. So now we're at what you call neutral. Then there's protract, elevate, over the top, squish, squish, squish back, and melt down. Again, under, forward, up. So a big thing in the Taoist view of the body is that what happens when we age, especially in our modern culture, this is a big deal. We don't make all the various movements the body is built to make because we don't have to. We don't climb trees. We don't, hunt and have to tread softly. We just kind of do those few modern movements that are forced on us. And so our practice needs to address that. Let's go back, up, over the top, forward, and down. So you think of it like barnacles or residue or rust that develops in these areas. And so as you make these movements, you run into these areas and go, ugh, and clean that out, stretch and pump life force and nerve electricity and interstitial fluids. You get the movement through the area, and eventually the body feels more supple, more lithe, more movable. All right, bend the elbows. Elbows go out, possibly up, and then down, and around in front, squeeze. So we're continuing this idea of trying to clean out the upper chassis. Shoulders, chest, arms, upper back. Squish. Elbows back behind you now. Down, forward, up. Again, we're just wringing out these spaces. Forward, down, and back. Down, forward, up. Wringing out these spaces. Elbows down, elbows out to the side, palms face the floor, one hand above, one below, cross. And wrap the arms around. Give your body a nice hug. And then elbows out to the side. Other hand above, other below. Wrap. Hug around the body. And open. One more of each. Hug. And open. So a healthy body at one level, one way of thinking of it is one that can shift, shape shift. We go to this shape, and we go to this shape, right? Elbows down, arms down. Now, ideally, this whole region is looser. So like a pendulum swings, let the hands be heavy and loose, and swing, 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 which is very different than if I tighten my arm and I move my arm here and I move my arm here. At no point am I letting go of control. This has a very different result than release, release, release. So you have to practice this looseness. These are called shuaisho, the swinging of arms, or the loosening of the limbs, you could say. All right, and let him relax. Now that same swing, except take your right arm forward, your left arm back. And this creates a little rotation right around your middle pivot, and then swing, swing. So let this one, by being loose, let this create this internal turning, pivoting around your middle line, your middle pillar, loosely. which again is different than if I stiffen up and I try to turn my body, me holding and doing it, as opposed to no, leg up, lazy, loose, relaxed, and settle. All right. Now sit back in your chair a little bit, nice and stable. Right knee up, right heel pulled back. So you're loading up your leg like a spring loading. Push, reload, set that foot down. Other leg, load, push, load, back. Same idea. We're taking the joints and tissues all the way to this compressed position, getting them to freely go all the way to the straight position and all the way back to the compressed position, and then down. Compress, extend, compress, down. So freedom of movement, loose, relaxed, like you are made of liquid, because again, we are liquid. Now, straighten the right leg out, foot and ankle, point foot, flex foot a few times. Then what's called invert, evert, tilt the foot in a little, out a little, in a little, out a little. And then circle, in, around, and out. And out, around, and in. And down. Other leg, pointing and flexing. Invert, evert, a little tilt, 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 and tilt. And circles around. And reverse around. And down. Scoot forward on your chair. And one of the most important movements of the body that we often don't get is rotation of leg bone at hip sockets. So now we step a little wide, lift the toes off the ground, and turn on the heels. Knees point in, toes point in, and then open all the way out. So this groin space known as the quad opens up, and then at this quad, close and open. So this quad space or groin space is so key in moving around safely and effectively, because if our legs can't turn and rotate and change their degrees of angle, then we're stuck sort of penguin walking around, right? Penguin walking to turn versus turning a leg out and being able to shift and turn and move freely. So a few more of these, just to get that open, spiraling freedom in the hips. And then neutral, bring your legs closer together. From that groin space, fold, bowing forward. This again, another very important freedom of movement we have to have from the hips. Notice my spinal column isn't rounding. That's not to say I couldn't at the end round it a little bit for effect. That would be good. But we got to make sure we're clear on this relationship, the pelvis or hips and the leg bones and the space between the two being a free moving space. And then it's that movement that allows us now to stand up and sit down. So let's do that. Slide your feet back underneath just a bit. Arms and chest are loose. Too often when people go to stand up, I see this idea that they're trying to lift themselves up with muscular effort here. It's the opposite of that. We got to drop all that out. Feel how our body weight needs to get from the chair going to the earth to the legs. Fold forward. The weight goes down through your legs. Arms are loose. And then you just keep the weight down to the earth and come up and feel this ching-ling, light, nimble, free. And then at that hip-leg relationship, fold, still loosen the arms, relax, sink the butt down, right? You got your chair there, and then lean back. So now as we're sitting, notice there's no weight in your feet. So let's do this little pitter-patter step. Little pitter-patter steps. You feel, okay, I don't have any weight in my legs. It's in the chair, and the chair is taking it to the earth. Now, pour it out of the chair, down through the legs to the earth, and come to rely on that as your conduit to being grounded. Fold, you keep the weight in the earth. Even though you just folded, you sink down, the weight is still in the earth through the feet until your butt touches your chair. Then you can lean back and say, okay, now I'm relying on the chair. Let's do that one more time. Pour it out. And just see how relaxed can you remain? How at ease, how lazy can you remain while still effectively standing, sitting, and so on. One more. Now, this exact same skill for, let's say, picking something up off the ground, right? You keep your chair where it is. I'm just moving mine. So we fold. Now, we're not going to sit in the chair, but sink the butt like you were going to. And notice, can you touch your ankles, your toes, maybe even touch the ground, and then come all the way back up to standing vertical. So the body weight stays down through you to the earth, and you fold at the hips first. So this opens up a very important range. Then we just sink. This also helps open our back and keep that suppleness. Go ahead and stand back up. So again, we're not sitting in the chair right now. We're just standing and sitting, squatting rather. Sink, get the fingers near the toes, come back up. And all the way, vertical. Looser and looser. Coming to rely on the liquid integrity rather than stiffness, rigidity, and grip, right? So now, staying vertical, let's move closer to this right side chair. So it's there if you need it, arms hanging. Now we're going to practice a little tip forward into the toes. Back to neutral. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see I went a little bit forward. So now my heels are kind of empty. The fronts of the feet are a little more full. Then you come back to middle where you feel front and back of feet somewhat evenly. And then go a little bit back into the heels. Just a teeny bit. Teeny bit. And then back to the middle and forward. And remember that emptiness, that softness, that lightness. Keep that as your main goal so that eventually 100% of your body feels totally lazy, totally relaxed. And yet you're grounded sustainably because of that looseness, that lightness. One more. So this is a great practice just to find the places you're holding and drip them out of you. Slough them off. Now find the middle. With that same quality of ease from our middle pivot, let's change so that you're more in your right leg. Go more to your right leg. So your left foot, check it. Can you do this little swivel thingy here? So that that hip is emptier. And then change sides. So with this casualness, this looseness, this easiness. And then change again. And change again. Loose. So finding that you can accomplish something as powerful as being in one leg and then switching to the other. It's very powerful in terms of walking, stepping, moving without any effort. More like you're falling precisely down through the leg and finding earth support so that this foot is empty. And then falling through. So everything we've done up until now, that's a great practice in and of itself. Let's go further though. change your body weight to your left leg. It's my right leg, but I'm going to say left because I'm your mirror for this. And with your empty foot, can you lift the heel and get to the tippy toes? Now use the chair for support as needed. Then lower that foot to the ground, whole foot, but it's empty. And then nice and casually change the weight to the right leg. Left foot empty. Come up to the tippy toes and back down. Hold on 1 second. So I'm working. Can you guys, yeah, can you not have the dog going fucking balls? All right, sorry about that. So again, we're changing, taking this empty foot, getting to the tippy toes, changing, tippy toe. Now we go a step further, hand on chair for safety, get to the tippy toe, disconnect that empty foot from the floor, lower it back to the floor, change. Get to the tippy toe, hand on chair for support, lift, lower, change. So we're getting this separation now of one full or chung one, and then this one ching ling, nimble, change, soft and loose, disconnect, change. So we're not going anywhere. We're not moving forward. We're not walking backwards or sideways. But if you have this skill will allow the correct forward, backwards, sideways, and turning in place that we're going to do today. So if you can get this quality here and this quality, let's go level 3. Hand on chair, lift, lower, shift. So the weight's down through 1, ching ling, light, nimble, loose, down. Too often we see this lifting of the leg and our mind thinks, well, that's hard. I have to grab onto that thing and yank it up. Instead of empty it and then just say, hey, leg, float, float. That's what Tai Chi feels like, is, oh, that's easier than I thought, right? And we have to release the tension in the body to find that, and that releasing of tension gives us groundedness, stability, okay? Now, pausing here, go weight down through your left leg, put your right foot in front, heel touching, toe lifted, so we're like this, okay? Small step. Now that same emphasis on down to the earth, shifting into your right leg now. So you've now moved forward in space, but all you really did was go down. And then into your back leg, think down. Now we moved backwards in space. Loose and relaxed upper body, even if you can, relax legs, and just down to the earth. And we've now moved forward. Down to the earth, we've moved backwards. Down to the earth. Tippy toe in the back foot. Down to the earth. So at no point are we up here. The whole time we're just going, down. Down. Now we go level 2 to really test it. Hand on chair as needed. From this hip, straight leg lift. So I'll turn sideways. You can see I'm sitting this hip to lift leg, not leaning back to lift it. It's this little sit, down, and then shift, get to the tippy toe, and then bend that knee, toe touch down, shift back. The emphasis on down allows this up without throwing off our central equilibrium. Down, we get this freedom, lightness, down. So as I said before, the healthy body has to do shape shifting, or you could say more qualitative shifting, changing from fullness, which has a sort of a tone to it, and emptiness, which has an openness to it, and then changing. So now this has that tone and this has that emptiness, and being efficient at letting that change happen. Now let's go level 3. This knee up, all the way down, heel touching the ground. Change. Now this right leg full, back leg heel to butt, and bring that knee up. And then take that toe behind, soft touch, and shift. So the emphasis on down allows the up. Emphasis on down, keeping that down quality allows this up. Down allows the up. Down allows the up. So at no point are we just rolling the dice and hoping that we're grounded. Eventually we know we're grounded the whole time. We're never ungrounding. And that's where the speed and swiftness kicks in. Now, step your right foot next to your left foot, side step. Now we're closer to this chair. Bring the right foot in. Get arranged around this chair for safety. Let's go level 1. Change your weight to your right leg. Put your left foot in front, heel touching, toes slightly up. Emphasis down. Tippy toe of that back foot. Emphasis down. Tip of the heel, light and empty. Change between full and empty, and then other full and empty. And then other one full empty, and full and empty. Full empty. And can it be lazy, for lack of a better word? Let it feel effortlessly getting down to the earth. And it's that effortless, lazy quality that's like a technique that we have to learn. It's like, soften down to the earth. Soften down to the earth. Let's go level 2. From this empty hip, lift, lower. And that's a straight leg lift, right? We got to sit the hip in order to achieve it. Shift, get down to the earth. And then this is like a little flamingo. Bend this knee. Toe touch down. Shift back. Sit the hip a little bit. So yes, we are moving, but what we're really cultivating is the middle. We're cultivating this middle pivot around which all this changing is happening. Fulls and empties, ups and downs, forwards and backwards, all of that arranged and organized around this middle quality that eventually has a stillness quality. Let's go level 3. Knee up, down, shift. Keep this idea that you have a middle, an organized, relaxed control center. And as you initially start practicing, you're going to encounter your weak spots, your instabilities. So that's why you want to go slow. Slow. And you also want to release those arms down. So you're not holding a bunch of tension and making yourself top-heavy. Loose. Loose. One more level 3. And bring that left foot back. Change the weight. Side step. Closer to this chair. Bring that left foot in. Put your weight into your left leg, right foot out in front. Now, all those same things. Shift down. Once you get to the tippy toe of that back foot, step. Step it forward. So you went from here to here. And then shift. Tippy toe. Now we're going backwards, but remember, backwards means down. This foot being empty, it can step down. Again, down, step the empty foot, keeping it empty, down, tippy toe that other foot. So it's that changing of full empty around your middle pivot. Down, step, down. Casual, easy, just shift, step, shift. This is it, the best one to practice at home, near a countertop or a chair, but try to have no hand on anything. Try to just get this one. This is that level 1. Can you walk forward and backwards and feel that it's easy? Feel that it doesn't require all that effort, all that force. It's just easy around this middle. Now we go level 2, which you may need the chair for. Lift, lower, shift. And now this is where your back foot has to come off the ground and step over something and down, and then shift, and then bend the knee, toe touch down, shift back. Now we come up in front, bend the knee, and toe back, shift. From the hip, lift, lower, down through to the earth, step over something, down through to the earth, bend down. So we're just upping the ante, upping the challenge for, can you stay relaxed? Can you keep connecting down to the earth, finding that as your stability rather than body tension and effort and force? So it's this addition by subtraction. Level 3 probably will need the chair for this so that you can get all the way up, all the way down, shift, and then as big of a range here as you can, heel to butt, knee up, foot floats out, and then settle down that heel to the ground, shift, and then your back leg forward and up, back, shift back. This knee floats up, tuck the foot, reach the toe back, down, up, down, loose, ease. All right. Switching sides. Bring right foot next to left foot. Change weight to right foot. Side step. Now we're closer to this chair. Empty your left foot and put it in front. Let's go level 1. So again, remember level 1 is just this casual shift, a step, casual shift, and then shift, step, shift. So to avoid lurching over our skis in either the back or forward direction, just emphasize this idea. It's like, oh, down. And then this foot's in front, but I still just focus on down. And then down. Same idea. My foot's behind me, but I'm not lurching backwards. I'm just softening down. And I've moved forward a foot in space, right? Backwards a foot in space, forwards a foot in space. And I didn't have to tighten up and do all this overworking. It's just down to the earth, down to the earth. Casual relax, casual relax. Walking through the supermarket, walking across your kitchen, walking to the bathroom. It's just all down, down, relaxing, loose. Level 2. So that's where lift, lower, shift. Now with this down connection, this foot is free to step over that obstacle and then shift. And we do the little flamingo. Bend the knee, toe touch down, back up a little bit. Okay, shift. So it's lift, lower, shift, step over the obstacle, down, shift down, and then a little flamingo, lift, lower. And then on the way back, it's up in front, tuck, reach the toe back without putting weight in it, and then shift. Straight leg lift, lower, shift. Heel comes over, shift, little flamingo. So the experience can and will be, the more you practice, a combination of doing less, and yet being able to accomplish more. This leg, because it's in a state of doing less, it's relaxed. It's then freer to lift and lower. It's got levity. It's got levity. rather than we're holding the weight in the body, creating a lot of gravity, right? Instead, we're releasing that and finding the levity, the freedom of movement. Let's go level 3. Use your hand on chair as needed. Knee, down, change. Then heel, knee, foot, let it descend without your body weight going with it, and then change the body weight. Now let's bring this knee forward and up. Reach the toe back. Change the weight back, and now it's up. Tuck the foot. And again, reaching back with no body weight. That's where we really challenge how grounded through this leg are we. And then back. Up, down, change the weight. Heel, knee, foot, descend, change the weight. The emptiness is what allows that freedom for that limb. And then we got to change so that this one has that emptiness that we're looking for. And then we got to change so that this one has the emptiness. Around this middle pivot, change. 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 So that's Tai Chi. All the more complicated forms and practices and everything else, it's really just an expression, a more complicated expression of the same idea of freedom of movement to open and close around this middle pivot. So now move to the left side of your space all the way. Notice how I'm almost off the screen. So get as far to your left as you can so that you have this runway out in front of you. And you got these chairs for safety. Level 1, empty your left foot, put it in front. Change the weight into the left foot. Right foot empty. Step it while it's still empty. Touch it to the floor, still empty, and then down. Step while it's still empty. Down. Down. So come to rely on the earth. Don't run away from it or try to suspend above it. Release down through it, through to it. Now, as you walk backwards, go slow enough to be very safe, but it's the same thing. Step an empty foot, keep it empty while you step it, and then change. Connect down to the earth. The other foot now being empty, you can step it easily. Change. That foot empty, step it, change. Down. Just casual, relax. Walking forwards, walking backwards. And let's walk forwards and backwards again. Just easy. Easy. Soft and released. And back. Soft and released. Soft. Down to the earth. Down to the earth. Down. 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 Now, stay with level 1 or go to level 2, which just means every step over an obstacle of some size. It could be the size of a small pebble, and that's fine. But what you're practicing is this: I've separated the foot from the earth, and I'm stepping and then landing it. And then I'm changing so that the other one is free to float. And same idea, the backwards, be very careful. You got your chairs to your left. Just know what your escape route is, your safety route, but still just come to rely on the earth. So even when I teach people who are using walkers or canes or anything like that, the key is we're still doing this. Even if I had a cane in my hand, I wouldn't want to be relying on it too much. I still want to learn and keep this relationship to the earth, this reliance on the support of the earth. Okay, now turn and face forward. Weight down through your left leg, right foot empty, out, in. Okay, so I'm going to turn around and I just want to show an important thing. So here's your secret sword. We'll use this to point where we want to point. So we got genital area in the middle and the inguinal crease on either side. So just softly touch that place where it's the inguinal crease. You got your leg and then that little sensitive area. So this is that quad I was talking about. So just softly touch it and notice something. So as you have all your weight in your left leg, we'll call this side closed. So it's closed. Now, as you step your right foot out, you want to open that quad, and that means your weight stays here on this side. And then close this quad, bring the leg back. That doesn't occur if I let my body weight go with it awkwardly. That means I let this one stay glued shut. And then it's glued shut and glued shut. And then my movement is awkward, right? So this practice of side, open, close. Notice that my foot is empty. And I'm putting the whole foot down. And then close. So your left quad is closed, right quad open, close, open, close. So yes, I'm stepping my foot, but the awareness needs to become aware of this gait, this space here, the quad. Now put your right foot out, right quad is open, left quad closed. And now let's close right quad, open left quad. So keep the foot glued down. A lot of times when we do this, people lift their foot and get on their tippy toe, and that means you're letting this remain closed. So keep that foot down and open the left. Now shift back, close your left, open your right. Keep the whole foot on the ground. Don't let it come up with you keeping this closed. So even if your stance is closer together like this, it's fine. But get this feeling of, oh yeah, there's a space. There's some real estate here that I gotta open and close. I gotta get it to be elastic. A lot of times this area is just a grip. And then we're walking around like this, right? Instead of smoothly moving in that interior space. Now close the right, open the left, bring your left foot in, and then back out. So now it's left quad, close, open, close, open, close, open. And notice middle pillar, it's just hanging out, just relax. Connected to the earth, one is full, one is empty, and we're working on freedom of movement. Eventually this can go quick. And notice I'm moving quick, but nothing is being disturbed. So softness allows for this swiftness and stillness, which is very important. Now bring the left foot in, feet are almost touching, if not touching. And then change the weight to your left leg, both quad closed. Work on changing the weight to the right leg, changing the weight to the left leg, changing the weight. Test yourself. You notice now I'm in my right leg, or this leg, my left, but I could lift this and then change, and I could lift this and then change, and I could lift this. And the middle pillar, the teacup on my head, all that's remaining organized, relaxed, easy. Now we're going to side walk. Right foot empty, open right quad. Keep this one closed. And then do that little change. Close right, open left. Then close left. Keep them both closed. Change legs so the weight goes down to the left leg. Side step out. Shift. Side step in. Shift. Out. Shift. Now pay attention to the idea that through softness, you're grounding, right? Chungwon. And we're moving across the room, and at no point are we uprooting ourselves. So all we're doing is stepping an empty leg, then almost like it's happening underground, you change to this left leg and bring the right foot in. And then as if it's happening underground, you change the right leg and step out. And so we're grounded, we're plugged into that stable quality the whole time. Central pillar is not leaning and leaning, we're not rocking the boat. We're just opening and closing the quad, using one full, one empty, to move across space. And then we've been adding this practice now. So again, if you come to the Friday class, we do a lot more of this type of practice, the rest of the complexity. But we're adding that now. This is our simplest advanced Tai Chi movement, okay? So arms dangle, have your legs about hip distance, and find this shift to the right leg, shift to the left leg we were just working on. But what we're going to add now is this slight turning from our middle pivot and this bear washing pause across the stream. Then turn your hands. Now, as you shift to your left leg, turn from your middle pivot and let those arms sweep across. Now, your right leg is empty and you're turned to your left. Now we shift to the right leg, turn from the middle pivot and sweep the hands across. Now your left leg is empty and you're turned to the right. So now we shift and turn and sweep. Now we add the walk. So just take it easy. Keep it casual. Shift and turn and sweep the hands. Now your left leg is empty. Step it in, just like we did. Shift your weight into your left leg and turn. The hands sweep across. Your right leg is empty, step it out while you're still turned and arranged over here. It creates a sort of dynamic tension, like an elastic rubber band, that then we flow through. This hip now open, we bring it in, and then shift and turn and sweep. So as your hands are to your left, keep them over here. Keep your body slightly turning to your left as you step that empty foot out and open that quad. And then shift and turn and bear washing pause. Feel that somewhat dynamic tension here in the groin and close. And then shift and turn, bear wash pause. Stepping out, feel that dynamic tension of this open quad, the body turned and reaching across this way. And then let it resolve itself through. There's some dynamic tension on this hip and we let that close. And then shift and turn. Step out. Shift and turn. Sweep across. Close. One more. Shift and turn. Bear wash. Pause. Step. Shift and turn. Now bring the left foot in. Back out. Shift and turn, bear wash, pause. Right foot empty, bring it in. Go shift into your right leg, turn as the hands sweep across. You keep them over here, keep the body turned left as you step. I'm sorry, body turned right, my fault. And then shift and turn and sweep. Keep this turn and reach across, bring that foot in. Shift and turn. Step out, shift and turn. And eventually this feels like the most natural, easy, fluid. And all the bear movements, again, this is why I hope you guys are coming to that Friday class, because then we can build on what we're doing here. So now this is the bear swirls the stream. So now this hand comes around a big circle and then comes in close to your body, step in, and then it's brush knee and swirl the stream, right? So from sideways, it looks like this, right? Instead of this, which was the first one. Now it's separating this so that there's this swirl as we, and we're doing the side step walk, which is kind of the easiest one. There's walks where we then go forwards and backwards. So this one's kind of the easiest to arrange and keep our balance, but get this feeling of when a foot is empty, it can step and then you change, and that one can step and then you change. right? And then we go back the other way, and this could be the bear squats the jumping fish. So this hand is higher, low and high, low and high. And then just take some edge out, soften. Do it with less. That doesn't mean you're doing less. It just means notice the effort and just relax it and see if you can find natural, relaxed. Last time, there and back. High hand can come up and over now. That's the high jumping fish. And also feel free to change it. So we've got wash the paws, swirl the stream, middle jumping, high jumping, middle, and eventually you feel the limbs tell you where they want to go. There's this quality of like, oh, that feels really good, to some tension or some barnacles that are stuck. You can even add the brush knee and push, which is this folded and extended position. Again, we've gone over all these things in detail in the Friday class. And so the beauty of these two together is that now you get to experience those movements while moving. And middle, hands together. So the idea here is we just let the chi out to play, right? We move, we swung, we opened and closed, all that. So the chi is out, titillated, scintillated, and playing. And so now we want to just remind it where we need flow. So qua is a place where it normally is stuck and gets congested. Hip flexors, there's often tension. Tail, lumbar, this is the Mingmen, the gait of life, this primary gait. And then we want to remember or remind the chi flow down the outer backside or yang chin, around and up the inner front side, past the groin to the navel, and then go qua, hip flexors, tail, lumbar, and then yang channels, sweep around the feet, yin channels, let's do that one more time. So according to Chinese medicine, this is the, in a perfect sort of open, clear body, this is how it flows. Down. These are some primary flows. Of course, there's many other directions it flows, but that's a primary one. And then also up the outer, turn that palm up, down the inner. Up the outer, repeat on the same arm 5 times. Other arm, up the outer, down the inner, outer, inner. So we've just promoted that chi, told it, hey, this is how we want you to flow in the body. And then wing, roll, fold. This represents the reminder that we don't want our life force, especially as we are aging, we have to treat our life force more protectively, right? Because it's waning. We're in the waning portion of our life. We're either at this portion or the sort of downward slope. And so we're reminding the chi, don't just be out doing frivolous activities like thinking too much or stressing. Instead, we're reminding it, go back to your battery, your reservoir, your resting place. And according to the Taoists, that's deep to the navel in this belly region. When our mind settles there, we're in our gut brain, or sort of more preternatural, primal, undifferentiated state, deeply resting. And then we seal our practice by taking one palm over that navel, this hand over the top of that hand, kind of like a cork in a wine barrel. And that closes the practice. Thank you, everybody. The little Taoist hand mudra representing yin and yang harmonized, right? So we're taking our hands and sealing. And this is just a way of sort of formally closing. All righty. Thank you so much. So a quick reminder as well. So I'm having a meeting tomorrow with PD Active. And one of the things they're pointing out is that there is not enough donation coming in. So you know how they're paying us instructors. And basically they were sort of doing an experiment seeing can they pay us and then the students who are taking classes donate and keep the wheel spinning. And they're basically finding people aren't really doing that. So I'm going to meet with them tomorrow. I'll find out more about that, but keep in mind that that's kind of what will keep this going. And I guess the other option is they go back to each of the people attending class have to pay out of pocket to take a class. So that's what's going on that front. But yeah.
Can they give us an idea of, let's put it this way, if everyone gave $25 a month, then we cover our expenses, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I said to Judith when I was talking to her. I was saying, I think it's probably because people don't quite know, instead of this amorphous idea of donate, it's like, what does it take to keep this ball rolling?
Yeah.
Kind of idea. So I will bring exactly that point up. That's what I thought of as well, was I thought, you got to make it easy for people.
Right, because I gave once and it was an okay amount, like $100, but I don't know if $100 was good for what, a month
that was exactly
whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought was going on too.
Yeah.
It's like people might be giving $10 and they're like, I gave. And in their mind, they're thinking, no, we need this much. So it's like, let's be precise with it, right? So that's what I'll bring up. Yeah, I will bring that up and say that's what needs to be clarified for folks, that it be precise and specific. So,
and if everyone pays their share, then we should be okay. But if they don't, then we'll have to go to a per class, which actually, I could live with either, tell you the truth.
Yeah.
But everyone's got to do it if
that's right.
in order to make it work.
That's right. That's right.
As a donation.
I agree with you 100%, and I will bring all those points. And if anyone else has any other insights that they want me to ask tomorrow, but I think that's the main point, is saying, let's be clear so that everyone's like, yeah, great.
And I guess the other thing I'm wondering, because I'm from a nonprofit perspective, is would they rather have donations or would they rather have earned revenue, like fees, because from my perspective, and even though it's not a great deal of money, a donation is better than paying for something, a fee, because at least the donation can go against the taxes.
Someone's taxes, right? I think that's an interesting point, is saying, yeah, is it better for the individual who is going to pay for it to be a donation? And the answer is probably yes, except isn't there a limit to what someone can do that?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to reach the limit with this kind of level. But the other question is, what does PD Active prefer? Do they prefer donation, or do they need to show earned revenue? What's to their advantage?
Well, and I think the thing was, they're not showing any earned revenue at all because you're paying the instructor directly. You're not paying PD Active.
Oh.
You see, now PD Active is paying us instructors, and they need to get some donations. And so, yeah, it's like, what's the benefits of the various models? That's exactly what I was thinking as well.
Yeah.
And so
from their perspective too, because for their own fundraising, it might show better that they're giving these classes, to the community, and that might be better for their fundraising.
That's right. That's right. For their large donation scene, whereas like the individual donation, I think, is where because they did just get a grant for something, but then that money is going like this. And I think what they were dreaming of is that the donations from the various participants would slow down that melting of the iceberg, and maybe even, make it do this or something. I think that was probably their dream. But yeah, and so I agree with you, Gail. Thank you for all those points. Anyone else have another thought that I can bring up?
No, I totally agree with that. I think that
Yeah.
Great. And so the points you made, Gail, were specificity of number, math. What's the math? And then you said, what is better from their perspective? And the last thing you said.
Well, just what is better from our perspective, although they should probably think about it through their perspective, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was just thinking, yeah, what's to their advantage?
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, worst case scenario, we go back to the old model. You know,
Paying per class?
yeah, I guess that's what would happen. So, you know, I think maybe they thought it would be simpler rather than, let's say, Gail having to write 7 checks or something to 7 instructors.
Right.
You know, you're able
that's
to just
true.
have in mind, I
Yeah.
write 1 check a month or
Yeah.
every couple months to PD Active and throw it there. And then I can just attend classes for joy, you know, and just enjoy that because, you know, that maybe was one of their thoughts. I don't know, but that made some sense to me that, like, yeah, it would be easier on folks. And I think the other piece was they were hoping there are people in the world with PD who can't afford 1 penny. And they want to provide these classes for those people. And so those that can donate, they're hoping they'll donate what they can. You know, that's the idea. But I think specificity is key. Like, what are the numbers? What is the base level? And then someone can go, yeah, I can do more than that, or I can't do that much, but I can do this or whatever. So I'll try to get those numbers.
Yeah, I just have one miscellaneous question here.
Sure.
Okay, I sign up for, you know, PD Tai Chi twice a week.
Yeah.
And then I also sign up for PD Yoga. There's a chair and then there's another one. So do they take a look at Gail and say she's going to 4 classes a week? Or, and that she should be like donating something appropriate for 4
Yeah.
classes a week? Is that what they?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll ask that
Because
point.
let me tell you why I'm asking, because I try to make your class, you know, religiously, unless there's something in the way, but the yoga kind of comes and goes. I do it casually, so
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
maybe I should only be signing up for the ones that I know I'm actually always gonna take, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I think maybe, but I also think there's a value to people attending classes.
Do
Making
they
them-
know?
Well, I
How
mean,
do you-
a value to other participants in that class, you know, like if you're attending a yoga class, but it's not your number 1 class, but you're there, it builds community for the other people that are there. That it gives a feeling, like we have a feeling in this class that there's between, you know, 7 to sometimes 12 or more people that come and go. And so there's always this critical mass of, you know, we're all here. Hey. Whereas, so I think there's that piece to it, that you are adding value just by showing up big time. And so there's that. It's not like you should not attend a class because it's not something you regular, you know what I'm saying? That's what I would think.
Yeah.
Because
How do
just,
Sorry.
Yeah.
How do they know who's attending the class?
I don't know.
Yeah, because I think, yeah, they're probably not aware of who's attending which class.
Yeah.
I have to register every time I take a class. I get the link that I have to register, don't you?
No, I use the same link.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
you-
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even so, I think it comes down again to it, just simplifying it down. It's like, how many teachers are teaching and how much are they having to come out of pocket? And then what's their donations that they're receiving on a large scale, and what's their donations they wish they could receive? Like, if we got X from X or X from Y, if we got X number from Y number of people, we'd be good. And I'll try to get it clear on that and be like, hey, let's make sure everyone in the community knows what that number is. And so then they can say, hey, this month I did this, next month I did nothing, and just make it easy for people.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think it just flits off into the atmosphere, you know?
Otto,
Yeah.
Otto, can you check with them how they find out who's taking the class? Because they should know how many people are in the class for your sake, as well as for their organization's sake. I mean,
Yeah, I think.
how do
I
they
think-
know they're not getting the donations? Because they may
Well,
be-
yeah, I think it's just because the number per month is just not. But they were saying if people are donating like someone donated and said, I'm donating and I go to Otto's class, or I'm donating and I go to this, or, you know,
They
people.
should make that clear, that people should say, I'm donating because I donate like to the organization, but also for the classes. So, and
Yeah,
I don't write
yeah.
3 different.
Yeah. Yeah. And so again, yeah, there's probably some people who are donating a lot, some people who are donating nothing, some people who are somewhere on and off. And so it's just like, yeah, let's be very clear on, and I don't know that they're tracking it. I'll ask them that though. I'll say, do you guys track it? And my thought would be, they would say, kinda,
Yeah.
you know.
I didn't really realize that once I switched to donating to them rather than for you,
Yeah.
that I would have to specify this is for such and
But you
such.
don't have to. You don't have to.
How do
But
they
I
know?
think
Yeah.
I think some people, I think they just were keeping it, you know, from what Judith told me, it was kind of like, you know, they were trying, it's an experiment. It's an experiment of saying, we're going to offer them for free. It's like, if you build it, they will donate or something, you know, that kind of thinking. Yeah.